Armchair Generals. This is Gamer 1745 here, and we're pushing into Greece. Pretty hard, pretty deep. Looks like we've got this. I don't know if Britain's going to be able to get any real reinforcement up here in time to save the Greeks like they were doing historically.
Pronto, signore. Comandi.
For food.
Ordini.
Great now.
Pronto all'azione.
Put them down.
Avanzate. Sì, signore. Sì, signore. Formazione. Formazione.
Are we getting invaded somewhere? Is that what I was hearing? We're still holding out there, that's good. Alright, well I guess not.
Avanzate. Avanzate. Pronto. Attento.
That does sound like an invasion warning. Invading Italy somewhere? I don't know. Eastern Balkans. Oh, they're coming ashore over here. Why do I care about them coming ashore over there? Well, maybe I should. I don't know.
Pronto, signore. Pronto, signore.
Put these guys on railways. Send them down here just in case they may be needed. We don't need to just sit up here, though. Okay, these divisions here.
Attento.
Send you down to
Avanzate.
Bari.
Pronto all'azione. Pronto all'azione.
Yeah, Reggio Calabria.
Avanzate.
That's good.
Ordini. Ordini.
Okay, we got those. Ports done. Let's move into that.
Avanzate. Sì, signore.
Okay, we don't need all of these
Pronto, signore.
guys. Here.
Attento.
Okay, general wounded. Wow, these guys are still holding out down here somehow. Wow.
Sì, signore.
Okay, we got some Belgian forces coming in and some Free French forces are coming in somehow. Okay, well.
Sì, signore. Pronto, signore.
Okay, we're across the water,
Attento.
across the river.
Pronto all'azione. Formazione. Comandi. Formazione. Pronto all'azione. Pronto. Sì, signore. Comandi. Preparatevi. Avanzate. Sì, signore. Sì, signore. Sì, signore. Avanzate.
Right, okay, we're industry there. Here. Another synthetic refinery, which will help us. Now, improve our Air Force.
Pronto. Ordini. Sì, signore. Sì, signore. Formazione. Pronto all'azione. Ordini. Formazione. Attento. Sì, signore. Pronto, signore.
Got the Indians showing up. That's a problem. We need to get these guys down before this becomes too big of a British thing. Oh, we can. Okay. Well, let's look at our. Well, we're still trying. Well, yeah, more fighters. Going over to that newer model, which we needed to do, but it's still costing us a lot of production time. Sure, go ahead. You can comment in Japanese. Hi.
Pronto all'azione. Pronto, signore.
Sequel to invade, Calcic. No, I don't think so really here. Because you're talking about here to get around. Yeah. Now see, this is okay. The place to do the sea invasion, of course, would be coming down here. But we got to get sea control, all of it. Should this really be, these over here should be part of this? I don't know. If I were to, you know, let's see. Historically, you know, why didn't the Italians there's forget the exact year, but there were war plans drawn up for a war with Britain, like 1928 or something like that. I think it's called Case Orange or something. I don't know. And the U.S. Archives and sure, no problem. So, you know, in some documentaries, and partially, I think, just, you know, get eyeballs on the documentary. But why would the Allies draw up plans to go to war with Britain in, you know, 1920 something or early 1930 something? Well, the U.S. or any nation should draw up plans to go to war with everybody. Maybe everybody all at once, but, you know, now, should Belgium here, you know, draw up plans to go to war with Russia, whether it's Soviet Russia or not? No, because that's not a likely thing to happen. So, yeah, or Hungary drawing plans to go to war with Afghanistan. That's just not a thing that needs to be done. Now, if you're America, because you're a continental power, because you have, you know, access to the oceans, you know, you draw up plans to go to war with just about everybody. Because you don't know, you know, Britain and America were quite friendly back then. You know, in the 1920s and 1930s, they had been allies in, you know, the First World War. And that they would, you know, you would presume that they would be friendly and not go to war with each other. Well, what happens if there's a communist revolution? Oh, you also watch HOI streams to study English. Well, very good. Very good. Hopefully it helps. You get context out of what I'm saying. So, you know, if Britain goes communist, what's my name? Arno in Japanese. Well, I don't know that there's a. You're just talking phonetic. They would write it as ARNO. They would use the Romaji letters probably. Arno. I I don't even know what it is in English. What does your name mean in English? So it takes some time to understand. Hi. Wakarimasu. I hope my accent isn't too bad for Japanese. You know, so you don't know. You don't know that there can be a radical change, like we saw going from the Weimar government to the, National Socialist government. You can have that kind of change. And so you may go from what you think is a peaceful border nation, to a nation that becomes aggressive against you. Though, of course, all Germany's neighbors were preparing for that even before. Is the best there is. Yeah, I don't quite think so. Because even a lot of, a lot of names have meanings that people don't even know, because they have root meanings in old languages. But let's see. Oh, you still do it because it's. Oh well, okay. I'm just going to get to that thought exercise for board officers. Well, okay, but part of it is board officers, but part of it is the planning. Okay, so if you go, okay, we need to, the U.S. needs to invade Mexico. We've done it several times. We after Texas becomes independent, we talk whether that's an invasion or not. Then it joins the Union, and then there's a war with Mexico. This is before the American Civil War. The U.S. Army is taking Mexico City in a very bloody battle. Then in 1915 or 1916, there's another American invasion that comes way down in here under Blackjack Pershing as the general in charge of it, and the only casualties gamer is yes. Cool. The only casualties that the Mexicans actually get for all the huge well, not huge, but the significant invasion, big enough that the Mexican army just sort of stands back and lets them go by. No Mexican army deals with the American invasion, because the American invasion is stated, and it is, to go after Pancho Villa and his bandits, because they had raided across the American border and shot up, including engaged some American troops on the American side of the border. Is General George S. Patton shoots a couple of the Mexican bandits, and he is he is probably the first definitely the first military combat engagement of American motorized forces in history. We could talk about maybe that, but well, no, I guess because he's probably the first. And because he's used some Model Ts as scouting vehicles, but it's an aggressive scouting, and he spots some of the bandits, and he literally shoots them with his pistols. So they've invaded Mexico a couple of times. We have, but you just whether it's a thought exercise or just a planning exercise. If I was Italy or France or Spain or Turkey, I would. What if I'm going to war with any Mediterranean power? Turkey doesn't need to worry about going to war with a Caribbean power, because it maybe some there's some Turkish people over here, or something goes bad, and maybe Cuba declares war on Turkey or something like that. I don't know. And so they somehow find themselves at war with Cuba. Well, okay, I don't know what does Turkey send out a few ships or something? Maybe, I don't know. But it's probably not a serious likelihood. But Turkey might go to war with, with Italy, because this is Italian controlled. This, at the time, it may want to go to war with Italy, or Italy may want to go to war with Turkey. So you plan these things out. It appears, now I don't know this is to be a fact, but it appears that there was no Greek planning for a war, Italian planning for a war with Greece. Because, yes, it was sort of a snap invasion, a hastily done invasion. Yes. And maybe, just maybe, Mussolini calls up, Badoglio or whoever and says, invade Greece. And Badoglio says, yes, it will start in 30 days. No, do it now. What? No, our plans say 30 days takes 30 days to get our forces ready. No, do it now. Now maybe there were plans in place, and Mussolini orders them to ignore them. But I'm not buying that, because make a better variant of naval bomber, please. Well, I already got some in production, so I don't know that I'm going to check, because we currently have one of these here in production, and we've already pushed down for the naval bomber. I don't want to disrupt my production levels anymore. Or no, I hear you, but it's just changing it over was going to make it a lot harder. So I'm not going to do that right now. So how, because I can't imagine with the divisions that they had here, as far as I know, because it was just Albania. Those were I would say significant divisions to hold the line. If Greece somehow decides to attack Albania, those don't appear to be divisions set up to invade Greece. Greece sets up the Metaxas line mostly facing Bulgaria, because as we can look here, we can see the terrain here on these provinces is pretty flat, pretty open. Maybe some forests, okay. But when we're talking about along Albania, we're talking about mountains. Okay, we got some coastal plains here, but that's a fairly small area. To the best of my knowledge, there was no rail connection. I mean, Albania was very, very, King Zog's country was very primitive. King Zog was almost literally a bandit king. Sort of a bandit that comes down out of the hills and takes, what's the capital again? Durrës or whatever. Takes the capital and declares himself king. It's a primitive country. There are some railways there, I believe, but there's no rail connection, as far as I know, into Greece. So an Italian invasion, if it's going to be, so if you're planning on it, okay, you can make it, but for the time being, don't produce it until you have enough. Well, we'll see about that, because we may get some better options. I can't imagine that, going to, okay, whether it's Greece attacking Italy, well, what if Greece just decides to join the Allies and come against us? And are you just going to purely be defense? Is your whole plan is to defend Albania? Or because Mussolini did have territorial expansionist plans against Greece, Metaxas did sort of want to become, from my understanding, an Axis ally with Hitler. Partially, I think, to stave off Italian aggression. It's sort of like the idea that, early on in 1938, I think it is. I know I have it for Third Reich events. I just don't remember the date. Germany asks Romania to become an ally. Back in 36, I believe it is, Romania has asked France and Britain to become allies at that point because Austria was still a nation, so was Czechoslovakia. They weren't worried about a German attack; they were worried about a Soviet attack. Both these nations, and I think wisely so, because they weren't capable of defending Romania. In France, even more so politically. I don't think the French population would have allowed sending of any significant amount of French troops to Romania to defend themselves against Russia or Soviet Union, whatever we want to call them, and they don't have to go to war with the Soviet Union over Romania if all they're going to do is supply weaponry, put tanks on train or on ships, take them to Yugoslavia, put them on trains and get it to Romania, or some such way of supporting it. And yeah, sure, France and Britain sort of doing a naval blockade threat, Russian ports, Soviet ports, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, that's a threat, but it's not that big of a thing. So I think wisely they didn't. And then Germany, of course, wants the alliance with the Kingdom of Romania, mainly because of plausible. Okay, Sunflower. Have a good evening. Domo arigato for watching. I hope you show up. I'm here this time most Saturdays and Sundays, so you can come back and watch some other time. So maybe not with the Christmas vacation, but most of the time you can come back on the weekends. We'll be here. Thank you. So and Romania, because it's wanting to be a pro-Western country, says no to it, to alliance with Germany. Great, thank you. And so all of this territory here gets taken away from Romania, given to Hungary under German threat. And this territory gets, Germany agrees with, in a secret protocol, a part of the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact, that the Soviet Union can demand Bessarabia, but it can't demand plausible. It can't push too deep in it. Cannot take all of Romania. That would be a no-no. So yes, and once they do this, and this gets carved off, and this gets carved off by Bulgaria, then and only then does Romania join the Axis, because it realizes, unless it's going to become a Soviet puppet, Germany's just going to invade, probably give some more territory to Hungary, and install either make it a German occupation directly, or set up a what they're calling here the Legionary Romania. And we could talk about some of the various shifts in the Romanian government, whether it should be a royal government or legionary government, but they do that, and it does make them do you want to try to keep some sense of independence, and so they join the Axis. They do. I think Greece is trying to do a similar thing, but watching what's happening with Slovakia and Czechoslovakia before it, what's happening with Romania, realizing with Italy wanting to, so moved into Albania. Metaxas, yeah, he's sort of like, yeah, Britain's cool and all, but he's, it's not quite the Anglo puppet that it definitely becomes as a an exiled nation, and then post-war, this is Churchill and whatnot. There's the Greek Civil War that's fought after the end of World War II. That Greece does sort of become an Anglo puppet in the Cold War era. And sort of looking back on it, people presume that it's wanting to be neutral because, hey, it doesn't want to go to war, but it obviously wouldn't be part of the Axis. Well, from my understanding is he wouldn't have minded, Metaxas wouldn't have minded being an Axis member, mostly just to keep Italy from taking it up. But why doesn't Italy have any real plans? Because I can't, whether you're worried about a British fleet or not, because you can have plans for war with Greece. A, if you're fighting Greece alone, or B, if Greece, has Britain as an ally. Those can be two sets of plans. But I don't think Britain is capable, especially with all the stuff going on, the rest of World War II. It would be different if the rest of the world was at peace, and it's just Italy invades Greece, Britain comes on its side, that's a whole different thing. But we're talking World War. At one point, I forget which British battleship is sitting in Alexandria's harbor. The Italians do a very successful, frogman, naval divers go plant some limpet mines to the sides of the battleship and sink the battleship. They sink the battleship. And this is the main British ship in the area that's keeping the Italians in port. Some of the Italians get away. Some of the Italians just get to the edge of the port and get captured. You know what? Italians didn't know they sunk it, because the British didn't admit to its sinking. Every day they rose the flag up. Every day they kept that ship operating and looking just like it's doing everything else, but it's sitting on the bottom of the harbor. Now it's only settled down about like 8 feet or something at the lowest tide, because there's a little bit of tide in the Mediterranean. At the lowest tide, it's only like 8 feet to the bottom. So people don't really notice that it's sitting on the bottom of the harbor, because it isn't that deep where it was. It didn't have that much water under it, even at low tide. So it wasn't like any normal problem of grounding. It was just in a shallow harbor where it happened to be. So the frogmen blow some holes in this, and the British don't even want to repair it, because they're afraid that if they start doing repair work on it to get it floating again, it would get noticed by spies, or somebody would notice and whatnot. So they keep the ship, and they keep the sailors, from don't tell anybody that you're on a sunk ship in the harbor. I mean, yeah, most of the ship is above water. Most of the ship is down in the hole. There's just enough blown holes in it that it sinks, but a bunch of the areas are still watertight and still holding out. And that ship is sitting here, and the Italians are afraid that this battleship is going to come out at any moment and sink some naval operation. So it's a bluff. It's a pure bluff. So I know a lot of this to know that, yes, Italy is afraid of the Royal Navy, but don't you have a plan to put enough? Because you don't need landing craft to get ashore. Okay, you don't need Higgins boats. You don't need the big LCMs and LCSs, landing ship tanks, and those type of things that we see used in D-Day and other things. You don't need those. They're damned useful. And when you're going against a fortified coast, that becomes a problem. But most of this coast, are they, if you're doing a day one, you're going to war, why would you even expect troops to be down here? Expect troops to be over here? Just, you come in with ships, like the Germans do in Norway. They have ships. They have, ships, boats, not life rafts, but actual boats with little motors on them. And they just get in, you know, they climb down cargo nets, get in the boats, and the boats take them to the beach, and they get off the beach and they go attack. And after they get a hold of some port or something, or you just get some barges that you know, either you carry, you know, that are small enough that you carry on board a ship, and it wouldn't be that big to for my purpose here, or you tow behind your ships, that you can then lower down some tanks on the ship, and those barges can just, you know, be modified to have, you know, a bow ramp, so that you can drive a tank off of them. And so you're not like putting an armored division ashore, you're just putting a tank company to support an invasion. And that they don't either, you know, because you got to realize, you know, we're talking about here is sort of the, well, here I guess is the, you know, it's here, is the original sort of border. So they're not even landing down in here, let alone coming down into the Peloponnese and doing an invasion. They don't have any of these plans. They don't have a plan to have an Italian division get on board ships or whatever to try to land in some of these other islands. So, you know, it's, yeah, part of, yeah, definitely, you know, the problem I have is I'm so used to light infantry versions of this. Last week on my own, while we backfilled everything else, just make sure we have some ammo, food, and logistics in place. Yeah. And light infantry can be very effective. So, but you know, why they didn't have a good plan to do it? Because I can't imagine the plan was to conquer Greece purely by coming through these mountains without any, you know, there may be a little bit of a road here, but not a road to keep large numbers of forces supplied. Okay, now back to the
Pronto. Ordini. Formazione.
Let's look at supply. I think that's partial. My problem. Okay, well, we have a supply hub back here that we're bringing supplies to, but I think what we need to do here is yeah. That'll get it to level 2. Let's move this to the top, this to the top, this to the top. Do those done fast. Make sure that we have as much supply to this supply hub as we can.
Signore.
Let's move you to a different division. You join this division. You come down here. Let's see what we can do for our division commander. Okay, we'll do him. And yes, what we'll do here is, from here in Toronto, we will see about doing plan a invasion there. Day 14. Okay. Now, what we're going to have to see about doing is, once this gets the right time, we're going to need to put a lot of vessels. Okay. Let's move you down to 200. We got to control 2 of these ocean bodies, enough sea bodies. Okay, how's our construction coming along? Okay, we've got all this done. So now we have supply all the way down into here, through here, so that will help. Oh, we have another supply port here. Okay. Well, what we'll do, or supply naval base, land supply. Okay, well then let's see about connect that. Oh, and move these to the top. Just trying to make sure we get as much supply in here as practical. So we're getting invaded. Okay, so they're invading over here. How are they getting? This should be closed. They closed it during the war. The Bosphorus and Dardanelles. This is the Dardanelles, that's the Bosphorus. That was closed to all military vessels during the war. Okay, now down here we have this force here, and we're going to have you patrol the Adriatic. Give it a little time. There we go, turn that green at least. Now down here, okay, let's look at our logistics for naval bombers. Okay, we only have 9 extra, so I don't want to start a new squadron of them, but a lot of them are operating down here, and we're losing some. Romania lost. How does Romania have 9 destroyers? Can someone please explain this to me? And then explain how does it have 9 destroyers in the Mediterranean? That would be the next question I have. Coming ashore here. Oh, they came ashore there. How interesting. Okay, well, you defend there. You come down this way. You come down that way. This fleet here, we're going to send you out to patrol there, and you are going to come here and patrol here as well. So far, we haven't gained the upper hand here. A little bit of ours, a lot of German. Oh, what? Oh, well, a lot of submarines. 154 destroyers. Wow. How do they have 154 destroyers in this bit of the Mediterranean? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. This is a bit bigger than I want to deal with here. Select. And this force here. You go back. Why didn't you up there? I don't know. You guys go back to base. I think this will just sort of be so even with German support, here we have yet to take Greece. Okay, we're getting, well, let's look at our logistics here. I'm rethinking. Just gonna make sure it's here. See if we can get down here before anything too bad goes. Now, okay, now that that's down there. this? No. Naval supremacy. We have only 38. We need 50. It's 39. Well, that made us do it under 27. Maybe we've lost a bunch already. Those are remaining losses. Not us. No, we're in combat here. Well, this doesn't look like it's going to be terribly good for us. They've got a lot more destroyers. We have some. Cannons, nice. Well, we should have better cover. Yes, we'll take some 109s, thank you. How are we doing for fighters? Oh, not very good. Okay, I thought we were doing a little better. And self-propelled guns, that'll get us. Well, if I was halfway serious, armor piercing capped. Well, not naval things. Well, it looks like we are the Battle of Valletta, which is the main sort of harbor in Malta. Okay, well, we had a not terribly conclusive engagement there. Canceling our land lease. Okay, so they gave us all the ships they were going to give us. Now we're down at 31. Well, I don't think that was a good plan to try that out. So, yeah, our Greek campaign has stalled. I think we're running out of time for this episode. I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with me. Yeah, I don't know that Navy is right with this game mechanic currently. Is the best option we have here. Oh, okay, well. Britain's just holding down the Mediterranean a little too hard. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much. We'll be back next time, yes, with even more Hearts of Iron. Thank you so much, everyone.